Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to a Varoma cooking class. Another one of those wonderful classes that we've been able to bring to you because we're in lockdown and we're all sitting around not doing a lot. So this is a great opportunity to keep learning. So we're hoping to get hot and steamy with you today. Did you all like that in the invitation? I was trying to be a bit funny, but what else can I do during this time? We've got a variety of dishes that we're going to bring to you today. There's a couple of seafood dishes. There's a mix of, we had some desserts on there, but then during the week, some of the other cooking classes that you might have seen, they've pinched some of our ideas when they've been using the Varoma. So we've chopped and changed it in the last minute, but as we go through, we're going to describe each one of the dishes that we're presenting. We're going to show you how fast it is to use the Thermomix in the steaming mode, and we're going to give you some inspiration to dust off that Varoma that I know a lot of you maybe not as so keen to admit, but you might have that Varoma shoved in the bottom of the cupboard and you may not have used it. So this class is about teaching you to bring that out, showing you how fast it is, showing you how efficient it is, and just getting your head into a whole new space around steaming. So we're pleased to have on board with us today there'll be five of us presenting, and we've got the lovely Anne-Marie in our chat, and she's going to moderate the chat group for us and pop recipes in there and answer any of your questions. So if we could ask that you please make sure that you're on mute throughout the entire class, and whenever you've got any questions, if you can just drop them into the chat box. Anne-Marie will do her best to answer it. If we need to take somebody at the end, or everybody wants to have an open discussion about steaming, we're more than happy to go and do that at the very end. But if we start answering questions while we're cooking, it's going to be a long hour. So we're hoping to actually wrap it up in an hour with the dishes that we're presenting, and we're about to get started. So the first, yes, and thanks, Rosemary. I can see that will the recipes be emailed? They will be emailed to you. So as long as we've captured your details in the registration, then we can email the links and any of those questions that were probably raised that we can actually expand on if we can't answer today in the cooking class directly. All right, so let's get started. We've got quite a few people on, which is fantastic. We're really excited to see so many people that are keen to learn about steaming in the Thermomix. So I'm going to kick us off, and I'm going to start with a mussel dish. And if mussels are one of my favourite dishes to cook in the Thermomix. So this one's a real simple one that you can just whip up at lunchtime even, and let's get started. Okay, so I've already started by measuring out my mussels, and these are just from the local fish shop. You can buy them frozen, you can buy them in those vacuum sealed packs, or you can buy them fresh. Either will work in this particular recipe. So the recipe calls for a couple of kilos of those. I've just got a little bit less, but that's okay because these are only for me today. And if I ate 2 kilos, we'd all be in strife. All right, so we're going to start the recipe with some garlic. So that goes into the Thermomix. And then we're going in with some fresh ginger. Now, given the fact that it's COVID, we don't always have access to all of these fresh ingredients. So if you needed to for this particular recipe, and I have done this before when I've been away, I've used dry ingredients. So I've used like that freeze-dried packets of the chilies. I've used freeze-dried ginger and all those type of things. Totally fine. It's always nicer to be fresh, but you know, we can't always access that. Okay, so popping the lid on. So the chili and ginger and garlic are in there now. And we're just going to give that a bit of a blast. 3 seconds. And if you've ever chopped garlic, you'll know that this is the bit that you don't lean over and smell garlic and ginger and chili together. You don't lean over and smell into the bowl because you will start crying with all that chili in there. So I tend to hold my breath when I go through this. Now I threw mine in with the seeds. That's really a personal choice. You don't have to. It's up to you. So sesame oil goes in next. The beauty of the scales are there. and we're just going to pour that directly. I've got a little bit over, not to worry. And then we're going to pop our lid on. And this is just going to saute for 2 minutes. Now, while that's sauteing, I want to talk to you a little bit about mussels. And one of the key things is that whenever you're actually working with mussels, it's really important to make sure that the mussels themselves are actually closed. Like any of that sort of shell, like pippies and things like that, always make sure that they're closed. With mussels, they have this funny thing about, in some recipes, and they talk about de-bearding the actual mussel. And they get a little hairy bit that sits on, I'm trying to see what the best area to put it. There's a little hairy bit that tends to sit on the top where the joint. When they ask you to de-beard an actual mussel, it's about wriggling that little furry, hairy sort of seaweedy bit out before you start cooking. So de-beard, these are all already been done. So these are ready to go, but that's what that means. The other thing you'll notice that today, and I talked about, you don't always have fresh ingredients. One of the ingredients that I couldn't get hold of today, and the reason why I look a bit frazzled, is I was running around this morning trying to find fresh lemongrass. Oh, couldn't believe it. I went to, like, we're not meant to be out and about as it is. And so the fact that I had to go to 3 different supermarkets really, made me panic a little bit, but I had my mask on and I was in and out, and I could not for the life of me get fresh lemongrass. So what I'm using today is a paste of lemongrass. So this is where I'm saying to you, in our environments at the moment, sometimes we're going to have to make some changes to some of the recipes. It's still fine. And as I said to you before, I've used chili flakes before, and I've used garlic flakes, and I've used ginger flakes before. So please feel free to sub out in this particular recipe. So this is just going to saute. It's on 120 degrees and it's going through for about 2 minutes. The next thing that we're going to do is add a mix of coconut cream and coconut milk. Now, the difference between the 2 forms, coconut cream and coconut milk, is one's obviously a little bit thicker and creamier. It says it in its title, but I would actually, if you don't have one or the other and you've only got one type, again, don't worry about it, use what you've got. I've got a combination today of the 2 to make up the total volume, because it's about a kilo all up of the coconut cream. Okay, so let's move along. It's now asking for us to pop in the cream. And as I said to you, there's 600 of cream and 400, I think, of the milk. So I'm just going to mix it up. Make sure I reset my scales. Oops, my hands are greasy. And I've gone over, so that's my next bit, and there's the rest of it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add some lime. Now, I just go back with my back arrow. The lime in this particular recipe, and if you watched one of the classes that I did the other day, as a Thermomix consultant, sometimes we get to go away to these amazing overseas trips. And a couple of years ago, we were overseas, and we learned how, in one of these cooking classes with these fabulous chefs, how to get the most out of juicing a lime or a lemon. So the key to this, and I'm going to share it again in this class, is you basically take the cheek off. So you don't cut the way we traditionally cut a lime or a lemon down the center. You take the cheek off, and then what you do is you basically hold a knife over the top and you squeeze against the back of the knife, and then you squeeze that cheek and you let the juice go through. Now, theory is that this is going to give you a lot more juice than if you actually cut it the other way. I don't understand why, but I believe the chef that told me. So every time I actually have to juice from now on, I juice this way. The other way that you can juice, and if you haven't been shown this by your consultant, is always having your Thermomix lid on, and then you can use just a normal juicer, a squeezer, a lime, I haven't got one of those things there, or you can use your spatula, and you can squeeze directly onto the lid of the Thermomix, which means that the seeds would get captured here and the lime juice will fall through. So that's another way that you can ensure that you're actually not getting seeds into your actual dish. Okay, season it well, bit of salt, bit of pepper. That's all we're going to pop in there. Right. And then we're going straight along, and now it's asking for us to pop our Varoma on. So we've got all our beautiful ingredients in there, some of my favourite ones. And now we're going to use the Varoma. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the actual lid of the Varoma acts as a tray, which is handy when you need to actually tip things into the Varoma. I might be using the top bit. I'm just going to use the Varoma dish, and I'll be using the lid. So having my lid down, using my dish, as you can see there, and then I can pop my mussels into the Varoma. So then when I lift this up, I can go over to my machine, pop it directly on so that I'm not getting all those juices dribbling all over my bench, and then I can pop my lid on. So always make sure you realise that you do the same when you're taking it off. Use this as the carrier over to your counter bench, wherever you're working. Okay, so we press next, and here it's going to cook for 16 minutes, and it's at Varoma temperature. So what we're going to do is take that up to, oops, I just happened to touch that. Take that up to 1, and we're going to leave that go. Now I'm going to come back to you at the very end after this is actually cooked, and I'm going to show you how to present it. But it's as simple as that. Now, how fast was that to even just get it to this stage? So I'll send you now over to our next presenter, and that is Alison. Hopefully she's ready, and she's going to teach you. Alison's got some lovely information for you today on a wonderful dish.
Hi everyone. Are you able to hear me? Yep, great. I'm just experimenting with a little microphone that I've never used before, so just making sure. All right, so yeah, my name's Alison. I'm a Thermomix consultant, but also a practicing nutritionist. And I love my Thermomix because it helps me create some really healthy, tasty meals for my family, super quick and without a lot of the fuss and the mess that used to come with cooking. So today I'm going to walk you through the salmon with ginger sauce and spiced cashews and how we incorporate using the Varoma for this dish as well. So today I've actually done the first 2 steps already, but I'll just quickly whiz through what I've done so you're up to date with the recipe from the start to the end. So firstly, what we do is put 1 long red chili in. There's ginger, garlic, spring onion, coriander. So that all goes into the mixing bowl. Then chopping on for 5 seconds on speed 7. Once that's done, just scraping down the sides of the bowl just to make sure that all the food gets pushed back into the center of the blades. Then I've added some lemon or lime juice. I've added some honey. Next was a tablespoon of soy sauce. And then again, back with the lid on the mixing bowl and mixing for 10 seconds on speed 2. And then that sauce is all done, ready to transfer and put aside to a bowl to then be able to spread over our lovely salmon in the next coming steps. So I'll just pop that sauce to the side. That smells so good. All the flavours in there just really makes it pop. The soy sauce with the saltiness, the honey for the sweet, the ginger, all that is so aromatic. I can smell it. So next, without cleaning the mixing bowl, we're going to be adding some olive oil. Then we're adding some Szechuan peppercorns. So again, just even more flavours to complement the salmon. Then next is adding some Chinese 5 spice. That's half a teaspoon. And then next, we're adding in 60 grams of cashews. I've already pre-weighed those and set them aside earlier. And then lastly, we're just adding a nice pinch of salt. Okay. So now I'm going to pop my lid on the Thermomix. Pop the measuring cup in as well. And then now we're going to saute the cashews just to infuse that flavour and sort of get all the flavour out of those spices. So for 4 minutes on Varoma and speed 1, we're just going to give that some time. Okay, so while that's working through, I thought we could just talk over a little bit about salmon and how much of a superfood it is and all the nutritional benefits you get from eating salmon. So number one, I think a lot of people know that it's really high in essential fatty acids, particularly omega-3s. And those omega-3s are so important for our joints, our brain, lots of different things, as it's so anti-inflammatory. And then salmon also has all the fat-soluble vitamins in there as well. So vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E. At this point in time, coming into winter with extra bugs and all the viruses and things that we're constantly hearing about at the moment, vitamin A, vitamin D, those vitamins are so important for our immune system as well. And then another lovely property of salmon is it's really high in protein. So that helps us maintain a really nice blood sugar balance as well, gives us nice sort of sustainable energy throughout the day. So that's just a few reasons why salmon is so good for us. And then just a quick note to mention that sourcing and quality is super important. So if you've got the luxury and the affordability to buy wild caught salmon, that's what I would suggest that you do. Unfortunately, farmed can, not always, but can have antibiotics and a few other kind of medicines that they need to keep the fish healthy. The farmed fish are often in quite a high density in a small little environment, and they can also be fed the wrong diet. They're fed these sort of pellets that are sort of full of cheap products like soy, wheat, corn, those kind of things. And unfortunately, that can affect the ratio of our omegas. So it can make the salmon a little bit higher in omega-6 and a little bit lower in those really nice omega-3s that we want. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more about salmon and how it's good for you. And then just a final note, whether it's farmed or whether it's wild caught, salmon can still contain some really nasty heavy metals, just unfortunately from us polluting our beautiful waterways. So only eating one portion, 1 or 2 at the most a week is also recommended. But let's just have a quick look and see where we're at in terms of our sauteing. We've only got 1 minute left. So I'll just quickly also mention this dish can be gluten-free. All the ingredients bar one. So it does say to use soy sauce, but today I actually used tamari, and you'll notice at the bottom it says wheat-free. Wheat-free doesn't always mean gluten-free, but we've also got the reassurance, sorry, move over to the centre, that this is a gluten-free sort of alternative for soy sauce, so tamari. So just check the labelling and make sure that it is free from gluten, and then you could be using this as a substitute, and then it's a gluten-free dish. All right, so 20 seconds to go, and then those lovely cashews are all ready. So the other thing that you could be doing while you're waiting for the cashews to saute is you could get your Varoma out ready and just lay your salmon inside the dish and also on top of the tray. All right, I'll do that in a sec. I'll just get the cashews out. So without cleaning the mixing bowl, there's the lovely cashews all sauteed in there. they're just going to be transferred and set aside as a lovely topper later. Okay, so moving along, next step is to add 500 grams of water. Okay, so really important that you do so. You need to have about 500 mils or 500 grams of water for every 30 minutes of steaming using your Thermomix and the Varoma. Okay, so next we're going to place the lid back on top. Going to add the base of the Varoma on top of my Thermomix. Okay, nice lovely piece of wild caught salmon there. Just going to add one portion of that into the dish. And the recipe does state to add 3 portions onto the tray, but I've just got another 2 there. The other piece down the bottom is quite large, so the 3 will suffice. Okay. So then next we're just going to drizzle some of this lovely marinade sauce that we made earlier with chili, the lemon, the ginger. Just place a nice amount over the top of your fish. And then next, we've got some really lovely greens to steam as well. So we've got pak choy, and then I've also got broccolini and some zucchini as well. So those harder, firmer vegetables, the broccolini and the zucchini, are going to go in first. So I'm going to place some at the bottom inside my dish, and then just the rest on the top in the tray. Pop the lid on, and then now we're going to let that steam, so 6 minutes Varoma and on speed 1. All right, so that's off and running, and I'll let you guys switch over and get going onto another recipe, and we'll come back later.
Awesome, thanks Alison. Okay, so up next we've got Debbie.
Hi everyone, my name's Debbie. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm actually going to continue with some Asian flavors. So the recipe I'm doing is called steamed rice balls with spicy lime dipping sauce. So when I saw this recipe on Cookie Dough, I got quite excited because I used to do a version of this many years ago, but I guess it was a traditional Chinese one where they had glutinous rice around the outside and probably a little bit more flavoring in the meat mixture. But I tried this one out, and because of the spicy dipping sauce, I think it works really well. So I'll get started. So it's asking for ginger. So 1 piece of centimetre of fresh ginger, peeled. And then lime zest. So just taking the lime zest off the lime with the potato peeler is fine. Put those in. So insert the measuring cup, and we're just going to whiz that up. It's finally grating that on speed 8. Okay. Now, because this recipe came from the Good Food Gluten-Free cookbook, it is asking for tamari. As you heard Alison explain, tamari can be the gluten-free version of soy sauce. I don't actually, I'm not intolerant to gluten, so I do have soy sauce instead of tamari, so I'm putting that in. So it's just 2 tablespoons of soy or tamari and a 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil, which is going in. and then a tablespoon of honey. So I've just got some honey here that I've pre-weighed. Okay. Okay. And 60 grams of water. This is a pretty quick dipping sauce, and 20 grams of the lime juice from that lime. Okay, so just, and that's just a matter of whipping that up. Okay, so it's now asking for 1 shallot, which has been trimmed and cut into thin slices. And then it's asking for a red chilli, a long fresh red chilli. I didn't have any at the moment. I had little ones, so I've just cut up. I don't mind a bit of spice, so this is just a little one that I got out of my freezer that I'm going to put in there. It's fine. Okay. And we just put the lid on again, and it's just doing that for 5 seconds in reverse. It just says to transfer into a bowl or sealable container and place in the fridge until ready to serve. So it is a really nice tasty dip that you can probably do with a lot of different things. You don't have to do the meatballs, do it with meatballs. So I'm just going to put that in this bowl. Okay, that's our sauce done. Just show you the sauce. Okay, so we'll go straight onto the meatball recipe. Now it's asking me to put the simmering basket on the top of the lid. So this is just to put our rice in. So what I've done, I've already weighed the rice into here. So this is the rice, putting the simmering basket in, and it's asking for 150 grams of jasmine rice, which I've already weighed into there. And then it says soak in a bowl, transfer into a bowl and soak rice in cold water for 30 minutes. So what I do is I get my thermoserver, because this basket fits in here, rather than tipping it out, I just put the whole thing in here, put your water inside the thermoserver. It doesn't have to be hot, so it's saying cold water, which is fine, but it just lets it soak in there. And then when you want to drain it, all you have to do is pick this up. Rather than putting it into another bowl and then draining it through a strainer, it's easy just to leave it in the simmering basket. Okay, so I've already done that, so we'll just keep going. And I've drained it. So it's asking now for spring onions. So I actually did half of my meatball recipe coming onto this class. So I'm just going to do half of the recipe now. So instead of 4 spring onions, I've got 2. Okay, going straight in. And then 50 grams of water chestnuts. Now, if you know water chestnuts, they look like this. I try to get the whole ones in the tin, and they're a really lovely crunchy texture, and they work really well in these balls. So it's got 50 grams of the water chestnuts, 3 garlic cloves, so for me 1.5, and some more ginger. So that all goes in, and then we put the measuring cup lid on, and that's just going to get all grated up on speed 8. Now I can hear that that's done as much grating as it can do, maybe because it's a smaller quantity. So I've still got 4 seconds left on the time, but I just stopped it. And what I'll do is scrape it down because some of it flies up to the side. So we'll scrape that down and it's going to chop it again. So just so we can get a nice, even, fine chopping for it. If I go next, it says scrape down the sides and then put the lid back on and we'll grate it up again. Okay. So then we add our pork mince. So I don't know if you've ever minced your own meat, but this is something we can do in the Thermomix, which is probably a lot better than buying commercially made mince. So I actually like to get pork neck if I'm doing pork, and you cut it up into 3 centimetre cubes and you semi-freeze it for about an hour, and then you can turbo it to the consistency you like. Or there is a recipe on Cookie Do that I found where they just do it on speed 6 for 10 seconds and it turns out really well. But then you know exactly what's in your meat or your mince. I've actually made this recipe with pork, but also chicken. So I've semi-frozen chicken breast or chicken thigh and minced it up as well. So this says 500 grams, but mine's going to be close to 250, 247. And just a little bit of salt. This is where I was saying my traditional recipe had a lot more flavouring. This is only half a teaspoon, well, a quarter for me, just a little bit of salt and a little bit of fish sauce they put in. So half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of, this is the fish sauce that you probably know, fish sauce. And then you just mix all this up on reverse until it's combined. Okay, I'll just show you the mixture. So that's our meat mixture. And what I do is I put it into a bowl. It's a bit hard to get out making balls from it from inside the Thermomix. So it says roll tablespoons of mixture, approximately 18 in total, and coat each ball with the soaked rice. So I'll just show you what I do. To make it easier, I have done half of them before. So I've just got some rice, the soaked rice on this tray. This is a tray that actually fits inside the Varoma. And I take, so I don't want to get my hands too messy, I actually use a little ice cream scoop. So what I do, I'll push it down for you. Oh, back here. So what I do is take this and just do little balls of the meat with this. And then you more or less get even sizes for your balls. So then I just get that, oh, I have to just take the ball and roll it in this rice and try and firmly put it on. And you have your little ball like that. This mixture actually, you know, there's so many dumplings and things you can make using this meat mixture. If you have wrappers, and I find that the rice balls are really easy and quick. You're not having to fiddle around with folding little dumplings. And it just makes a bit of a change. Okay, so I'll just do a couple and then I'll show you. And now, These are some I made just before we came on. So as you can see, I've got the Varoma liner. These are available from the mix shop, which are really good and just saves a lot of mess on your Varoma. So I'm just putting these on here and they're going to steam. Okay. So if I did double the mixture, well, if I did the whole mixture, they would fill the Varoma tray and the Varoma bowl. Now that's a bowl. We don't need to wash the bowl. So we've made our balls. We've got them on the Varoma tray. If they don't fit comfortably on the tray, divide between the Varoma tray and the Varoma dish. Okay, so a litre of water. So as Nita was saying, if we want to speed it up, I've actually got the water a little bit heated. So we'll just pour that in. I'm sure that'll be fine. And we'll go next. And then we're just putting the Varoma tray on top. So we take the measuring cup out. We just put this all on top like that. We've put the lid on. And it set itself for 20 minutes on speed 2. And we'll just let that cook away.
Great, thanks, Debbie. And we're going to come back to Debbie with the finished result as well. We're going to move over to our next presenter now, which I believe is Clelia's got a lovely chicken dish that she's going to help us out with. And we're going to learn a little bit about steaming with chicken and potatoes.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Hopefully you can see me, but most importantly, the Thermomix. So my name is Clelia and I'm Italian, so hence the odd name. If you can't pronounce it, it's okay. You can read it on the screen. And I've been a consultant for about a year now. I'm an architect by day, apart from today, and a consultant by night and weekends. So I actually joined about a year ago. I was watching one of these classes during lockdown. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool that you could do this from home while you're sitting there, you know, pretty much doing nothing and, you know, keeping busy and doing fun things together with the community and share your passion for your Thermomix. So that's when I joined about a year ago and here I am doing the same. Just to say that obviously if you're interested, the same way this opportunity was offered to me a year ago and I fully embraced it and loving it, the opportunity is there for you too. So, you know, chat to us at the end of the class or chat to your consultant, you know, if you think this is for you. So enough about me. We just get cooking because this is what you're here for. And I'm just making, as Linda mentioned, a chicken dish today. It's kind of a warm salad, so it's good for winter. I've had it a few times before and it's really quick, really easy. Everyone loves it. Good dish. So you can prepare a lot of things ahead. And then I'll just show you how I've done in preparation for this class so you can do the same during your day. Little tip, because I've made a few things already. When you start a recipe on your Thermomix, and hopefully you can see the screen, I've got lots of things in between, sorry. So when you want to start a recipe, not from the start, all you need to do, just a little tip, so you skip the steps, you just click, I've already done step 1, 2, and 3, I guess. So I'm starting from 4, I just click on it and it takes me straight there. So you don't have to click next 100 times to get there, and it's much quicker. So it's asking to have some hot water inside the bowl to steam our dish that we're cooking. You have a Thermomix, so you don't need to boil the water separately. All I've done, I put a 500 grams, half a liter of water in here. There's a mark, I can't touch it because it's hot. There's a mark for half a liter of water, pop it on, and there is a function. If you swipe left on your home screen, it's called kettle mode. Put it on 100 and it just warms the water up for you. So I've got hot water in here waiting to go to make things a bit quicker, so you can do that. All I've done previously is I've just made the marinade for the chicken. I've left some in here just to show you. So chicken tenderloins, 1/2 kilo. Marinade is, I'm gonna have to read it out because I have a terrible memory, sorry. Garlic, olive oil, lemon juice, a bit of sweet paprika, oregano, sorry about the Italian accent, a bit of ground pepper, and some salt. So this is the marinade. I've made it this morning. Put my chicken tenderloins in. You can do it the night before. You know, the more it sits in there, the more flavor it gets inside the chicken. And then when you're ready to cook, it's ready to go in the fridge. So I've done that. That's just the first 3 steps. All the Thermomix does, mixes it for you. Pour the chicken, marinade on, hot water, off we go. So next step is to place the Varoma on top. Really simple. Remove your cup. You can probably see the steam from me having the water, hot water sitting in there. And we're making chicken and potato salad. So here is my potatoes. I've just chopped them. The recipe says to actually just have small potatoes with the skin on. I didn't have those. I had bigger potatoes, so I peeled them and chopped them roughly the same size as a small potato would be when cut in half. So I did a bit more work, but you know, we have to make do nowadays, and I just put a bit of salt on them. Little trick, I put my measuring cup in the middle. So when I spread the potatoes around, because I put a bit more than the recipe says, I just put the measuring cup in the center. So then when I remove it, there's a gap there, all right? Well, that is because you just want to make sure when you cook with your Varoma that the steam travels through from the bottom all the way to the top so your chicken gets cooked. So that's all that does, separates it. You don't have to think about it too much. It's quick. It's a good habit to have. And the next step is to soak them. Already done that, and then we put our chicken on top. So I've layered some on top already, so you don't have to watch me doing that for too long. I'm just finishing it off with the one I had sitting in the marinade. And what I want to show you is how I've done this by keeping the sides, like the little gaps on the side kind of clear so the steam can travel through. I'm just making sure the chicken cooks, and I'm just going to sit it on top. I have used, as Linda said, the trays, you know, sitting at the bottom. So I've got some chicken juices sitting there and not on my bench, which is great. And the other little tip that Debbie mentioned already is you can grab these pre-cut Varoma sheets from our mixture if you can't be bothered cutting it. Other than that, you can do it by hand. That's totally fine. I love these ones because they already have holes in them and the steam travels through really well. If you don't like your chicken going on your potatoes, I mean, you're gonna eat them together, so it's not a big deal. But if you don't like the idea of it, you can use the ones that don't have any pre-cut holes. So up to you. I picked the ones that were pre-cut already because I don't mind. The other option is, and you probably saw Debbie using one just before with the rice, it's a Varoma tray, also from our mix shop. And it's just a stainless steel tray, fits perfectly inside the Varoma, the top layer. And I could have put the chicken in here. I actually use it mostly for if I have a whole fish. Sometimes I make frittatas in here. I literally just pour the eggs in the mix in here and I steam the frittata in there. Frittata. Why? Because it's just easier than dealing with the baking paper, in my opinion. But you can do either. You can just use baking paper and pour the egg mixture in the baking paper, or you can use this one, just a little bit of oil spray, and then egg mixture goes on top. And you can steam frittatas, and they're amazing. Really good, really quick. All right, so this is now done. So I've got my hot water, potatoes, and my chicken. And all I need to do is put the lid on and turn it on for the 15 minutes that's suggested the guided cooking recipe. So while this cooks, I've already prepared, hopefully you can hear me over the noise. Can you hear me? Yes, awesome. So what the actually recipe says, if I keep clicking on the instructions, it says to use your time wisely while this is cooking by preparing the rest. So all you need to do is, we're having this with a salad, so you can prepare your salad, wash it, chop it, some shaved parmesan on top. So that goes with our chicken and potato salad. And the other thing is use about 5 minutes of your time to get your frying pan out and just basically lightly, you basically toss some prosciutto, 100 grams, and 2 tablespoons of capers in 20 grams of olive oil. You just toss them in the pan and you crisp them up. So I've done this before because it's a cooking class, but you can do it as you wait for that to cook. And now I'll just put it in my thermal server and put the lid on so it stays warm. If you've got 2 guests watching at the moment, great, take to your consultant because this is part of our host rewards. You can get one discounted just by watching our class today. So please do so. They're extremely helpful. I cooked this over half an hour ago and it's still hot. So this is ready for when I have to plate up my salad. And I think that's all for me. We'll come back.
Clelia. Yeah. That was great. That's good. And so Clelia has just fried off, in case you missed hearing that, she's fried off the prosciutto and the capers in a frying pan. So for 5 minutes. So over to Fiona. Fiona's going to do a quick dumpling dish. We might go a little bit over, everybody. I would say we're probably going to be over about 10 minutes or so. So instead of finishing at 1, we might finish just 10 past 1. So hang in there with us. We'd love you to see all the finished dishes. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Fiona. I'm going to make you some steamed ricotta dumplings with Napoli sauce. This is very similar to a recipe I use that's Nico Moretti's. He has spinach in his and it's a little bit different, but it's a similar, again, it's in a tomato sauce. So we'll get started, seem a bit limited on time. So I'll just put my room in there. Okay, so it's pretty easy. At the beginning here, you can make your own ricotta if you like, but I haven't done that today. But Clearly is going to tell us a little bit about how to make ricotta a bit later. So we'll just skip through that and get to the main recipe. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that goes in is just bread. So if you wanted to do a gluten-free version, you could use gluten-free bread. So I've just broken that up. It's old stale bread and it's 100 grams. So we're just throwing that in. Then we've got Parmesan cheese, which I've just cubed. Then we have lemon zest, which is off my organic lemon in my garden. I just used a potato peeler and done it in strips like that. I've got basil and oregano in here. We're just putting that in. And a teaspoon of salt. So we're just going to mill that all together. Very quickly. 10 seconds. A bit noisy. Now we're going to add the ricotta. 250 grams of ricotta. So that's all just being milled up like that. We'll just add in the ricotta. And we're just going to mix that together. 15 seconds. Okay. So that's just mixed it all together really nicely. So what we do now is we get a Varoma, and I've got this new little spray bottle that you can get from the big shop. You just put your own oil in it and you can spray it onto your lid of your Varoma like that, which makes it very easy. You don't have to buy those terrible cans of oil spray. You can put your own oil in it. And then it's just telling you to, I'll just put this down here, just wet your hands a bit and get spoonfuls of the mixture. Walnut size, they're saying, whatever size of walnut is, I don't know. I'm just putting, just this size like that. So what I might do is I'll just show you a couple and then we'll get onto the sauce. So you just do it like that and put them on your tray. So I might just put that aside while I do the sauce. So I've got to just put this in another bowl. Let's put that in here. So this is a gluten-free recipe, basic. Well, not gluten-free, I mean vegetarian. So if you don't want to use meat, but the ricotta is a nice protein to have. So there we go. Okay, so now we'll just get onto the sauce. And I'll do the other ones again in a minute. So, okay, so now we have a brown onion. 2 cloves of garlic. And we're just going to chop that. 3 seconds.
So yeah, we've made this quite a number of times and we've even changed the base sauce. So the base sauce recipe can be changed and you can even add, if you didn't want to keep this just a vegetarian dish, you can also add other flavors and meats into the actual sauce.
So I'm just adding olive oil. 30 grams, and so we're just going to saute that for a minute. 3.5 minutes. So the beauty of this is it makes it quite a big meal, because I do them for my kids and partners and they come over and it makes quite a big meal. And you can always add crusty bread or salad to it as well, and it's really nice. And, Nico's actually, you make the dumplings, put them in a tray, and then you put more cheese on top and put it in the oven. So you put the dumplings in, then the sauce, then the cheese, and sort of bake it off at the end so you get a lovely golden topping on it, and it's really delicious. So, yeah.
Okay, what we might do, Fiona, while you're sauteing there, we might just swing back over to Alison and show the finished dish with Alison's salmon so that we can start showing some finished dishes.
Sure, okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So yeah, this dish is pretty much ready to go. While the other ladies were showing you their amazing dishes, I just followed through with one more step. So it was just to add some pak choy into the either the bowl or the top of the tray, whichever you've got room for, and then just continue steaming for another 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how you like your salmon done. And then now we're ready to plate up. So I'll show you the end results. So again, you've been shown this trick many times using the lid of your Varoma as the tray. So there's the top level with salmon and the steamed veg. And in the dish, we've got some more in there. So I'll just quickly show you as well. It didn't actually come with rice. The recipe didn't state to, but I thought it might be just a nice little extra way to sort of bulk up the meal, especially for my husband who likes to have that little bit of extra sort of carbohydrate in there. So just transfer that salmon over to the plate hopefully without breaking it in half. That's it there, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of that sauce that we made earlier. And now top with broccolini, zucchini, and the lovely pak choy. And then final touches is that spiced cashews that we sauteed earlier as well. So have a look at that dish. Doesn't that look beautiful? All the colours, nice and healthy, anti-inflammatory, and all over a winner. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Make sure you take a good photo of that one, Alison, so we can see it up close and personal. All
Will
right,
do.
Fiona, are you ready to continue your recipe?
Yeah, I've just sauteed those onions and garlic. So now we're adding a can of tomatoes, diced tomatoes. The passata, which is hard to get off when I've got greasy hands. There we go, 300 grams of passata. So this recipe is different, and everyone else has used water to steam their food. We'll be steaming over the actual tomato sauce. So you get lovely flavour from the tomato sauce into your dumplings. Now I'm using a tablespoon of vegetable stock paste. So I hope you've all got a jar of veg stock paste in your fridge, which is so handy for everything. And water, just putting water, 100 grams of water. Which is good. Pinch of black pepper. And there we go, we're ready to go. So I'm just finishing off that cooks for 5 minutes, and then we add the Varoma after that with the dumplings on it.
So we'll come back to you, Fiona, once you've got all your dumplings up on your Varoma, and we'll come back to you to see the finished result. So what we'll do now is we'll go. Debbie, are you ready to go?
Yes, my rice balls have just finished. So I'll just remember, when you're taking the lid off, tilt it to the back so you don't get the steam on you. I'll just put them on here to show you. Can you see those? Beautiful. Okay. So what I'm going to do...
They've really puffed up quite a bit, haven't they?
They have. So I've got some Chinese spoons here. Oh, I'll just bring it back a bit. I've put a little bit of the sauce on the bottom, and I'm just going to put a dumpling on each one of those. Oh, it's quite big. These are my grandparents' spoons. All gold. Okay. And then it says to garnish it with chilies and spring onion on the top. So let's put a little bit of chili. I've seen them with goji berries as well, if you want to put a healthier red topping on it. And just a bit of...
actually even reduce the amount of chili in this particular dish, and it's very kid friendly. And I've seen somebody call them porcupines.
They do. They call
like
them.
That.
They do. And actually, you know, Danny Valent has in the mix too. She's got a version of this recipe, and she calls them hedgehog balls.
There you go. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, hedgehog. But when I first did them, they were called pearl balls, and they always had glutinous rice, which is not, it doesn't contain gluten, but it's just that sticky rice. But you can actually use any rice. I actually tried it with basmati because I always have basmati and it's a lower GI. It does work with basmati. The only rice I guess is a little bit more tricky is brown rice because you'd need to soak that longer. But Danny Valent actually has brown rice in her coating, but she soaks it in hot water for 2 hours or something like that. But anyway, give them a go. They're delicious.
Thanks, Debbie. And what we'll do is my mussels are ready to go. So over to me now. If Anne-Marie, if you can spotlight me, that'll be great. Okay. So what I've been busy doing is smelling these cooking actually because it's so fantastic. I've taken some out, so I've made a little dish for me, but I just want to show you again how to actually prepare and bring these out and how to present them. So this is the rest of the mussels that are there. I'm just going to, they're all opened up. I've kept them. So we can pour that into a serving dish, and I'll just put this aside. And I'm going to bring this over to my board so that you can see the larger dish and the smaller dish. You can see them both now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is grab the sauce. So I'm just going to give it, oh, it smells beautiful. It's sort of like, I don't know the rest of you, but when I actually work with some of those Asian spices and coconut milk or cream, I could actually put it in a cup and drink it. But anyway, we won't be doing that today. So another tip when you're pouring from your jug, using your spatula, you can actually pour directly onto your spatula to avoid all the big splashes. So I'm just pouring over the larger dish here of the mussels, and then I've got my dish over here. So this is going to be my lunch. So pouring over to the smaller portion. Oh God, so good. We're going to top it now with some spring onions and then some chopped coriander. And like everything, it always needs a touch of either lemon or lime, I think, in a lot of these good recipes. And again, using the cheek and the back of my knife, I'm just going to squirt that across, squeeze that a little bit and give it a bit of zest there. And beautiful pieces of bread. So bake your own bread. And there's a bread baking workshop next week. So make sure, actually, when I send you all the recipes, I'll make sure I'll pop the details for that bread class. So you're not going to want to miss that one. But a beautiful piece of sourdough bread. And I'll bring this over so you can have a quick look. And there we have our beautiful dish, and I'm going to enjoy that for lunch. So that's how we quickly cook up some mussels in just a couple of minutes in the Varoma. Okay, so now we'll go over to Clelia, I believe, who should be ready with her beautiful warm chicken salad.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me now? Yeah, good timing because I literally just finished plating. All I did, so you can extend the timing. It says that's what the recipe says if your chicken is not cooked. But because mine was also pulled out of the fridge a bit earlier, it actually cooked exactly in the amount of time that's 40 minutes that's stated. So you can always adjust the cooking time to suit. So I checked my chicken and it was pulling apart beautifully. So all I've done, I've tossed the potatoes that were at the bottom and the chicken together with my prosciutto and the capers that I've prepared in the frying pan. And that's it. So that all goes inside my thermoserver and that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the lid on again so that stays warm, and that's ready to serve. An hour or two, it will stay warm. The thing is with chicken, it's going to keep cooking a little bit, so you don't leave it in there for too long. But in saying that, I'm preparing the salad dressing now, so that can sit in there and just wait for me to be ready. So I prepared my salad earlier, and all I need to do now, it says to clean your bowl. I have a second bowl, so I've pulled that one out. If you don't have one, you might want to pop onto our mix shop and grab one because they're amazing, saving a lot of time. So just a little bit of parsley, 2 sprigs of parsley, gherkins, 40 grams. I add a few, They're so good. In they go. And then we've got 100 grams of mayo. So you can make your own mayo in the Thermomix. I didn't today. Not gonna lie to you, didn't have time, but it's really quick. You can do it. And I also had some already in the fridge I really wanted to use. So I'm trying, you know, not be wasteful. So that goes in. And then 100 grams of buttermilk that I had already also, because I am planning on making scones. If you actually try and make butter in your Thermomix, which is also really easy, you get buttermilk as leftover, and then you can use it in things like this, like a salad dressing. Oh, forgot, a bit of salt, a bit of pepper, a bit of seasoning, because this goes straight onto your salad. So you want to put your salt and pepper in as well. That's it. And then it just mixes it for you for, I believe, 5 seconds. Yep, speed 6. It's obviously chopping the gherkins for you too, and the parsley and all that. So it's super, super quick dressing. I really like it. And because of the gherkins and all that, it's a little bit, got a little bite to it. It's really yummy. And all you do, you just pop it on top of your salad, and let's just not waste what's on the lid. This is what it looks like. That's your dressing. And I'm not going to use it all because I'm not going to eat all this salad for lunch. So I'm going to save some for tonight. I've already made half the salad, a third more or less. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on top. This is my lunch today also. And unfortunately, we can't share it with you, not this time around, but beautiful salad with dressing and our warm chicken and potato remoulade with prosciutto and capers, ready for lunch.
Awesome. Fantastic. That's great. All right. So we now will go back to Fiona. Where are you at, Fiona? How many more minutes? And then otherwise, Clelia can just give us a bit of an insight into some ricotta.
Yeah, I've got 6 more minutes to go. So.
Okay, that's okay.
So what we talk about? Oh, good.
So Clelia, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the anniversary cookbook, and then I'm going to get you to talk a little bit about the ricotta making. Is that okay?
Yeah, I also got a bread team to show, so plenty of things to talk about.
Okay, no worries. All right, so okay, I might spotlight myself if I can, Anne-Marie. All right, so we need to take, oh, great. All right, so I want to tell you a little bit about this book. This is Thermomix's 20-year anniversary cookbook, and this is available now in the official Thermomix store, which is our mix shop. So you go onto the Thermomix page, www.thermomix.com.au, and in the top left-hand corner, you've got access to the mix shop. If you go into the mix shop, you'll be able to get your hands on this book. Now, I've got to say to you, for years and years and years, I've been a collector of cookbooks, and if I could turn my camera around, you'd probably see the big stack of books underneath my laptop just now. But this is a really lovely one, and as a passionate Thermomix owner, it's one of the ones that you probably want to get in your collection. Inside, there's some lovely pictures of Grace when she was younger, a beautiful story, lovely illustrated pictures, lovely content, great stories. And it's just a beautiful read and a wonderfully put together book. I would highly encourage you to get yourself a copy. Some of the recipes in here, when you purchase through the mix shop, you will get actual videos to go with the recipe. So that's a complimentary add-on when you buy this book through the mix shop. The book will also be sold in most leading retail bookstores as well. The other thing to remember is that this particular book will not be featured immediately on Cookadoo. It is an anniversary special book, so it is best to purchase this in hard copy. In the future, they'll probably pop some of those recipes on Cookadoo, but for now, this is really an anniversary collection and something that you probably really want to grab yourself or gift it to somebody that you know really loves their Thermomix. So Clelia, let's have a little chat now about making ricotta. I've made it before. I've also made other cheeses like paneer, which is an Indian cheese, in the Thermomix as well. Maybe you could share with everybody quickly how easy it is to make ricotta in the Thermomix, and then we can just show Fiona's finished dish at the end. I know we've gone over, and I'm very sorry, everybody, but I'm sure you're enjoying your time with us. And we do have a recording of this, so if there's anything that we miss, I'll make sure that you get a copy that you can watch later as well if you have to jump off. Okay, Clelia.
Here I am. Okay, so unfortunately I don't have any ricotta ready to show you because we just finished it yesterday. In saying that, I was actually going to make it today because it's something that I don't buy any longer because A, I think the one I make is better. B, I like to know what's in it and, you know, start to end. And I also enjoy the fact that I've made it myself when I need it and I don't have to go to the shops just to grab some ricotta. It's best eaten fresh. So make your own ricotta if you can, please. I have shared a recipe in the chat, my favorite recipe so far. I've tried many. It's from Recipe Community. So it's a manual recipe, but it's so simple. It's totally worth using manual rather than guided cooking. I don't mind the one on Cookie Do, but in saying that, it's only if you like quite dry ricotta. So everyone has a different taste. I like it quite creamy and I like it quite moist. So if you are like me, go onto the Recipe Community one that I've shared. If you don't mind having like big crumbly dry ricotta as a result, go on with the one on Cookie Do. It's perfectly fine. It's still ricotta. It's just a different kind. Simply because the one on Cookie Do just uses milk and vinegar to make it. All the Thermomix does, it warms up the milk for you to the right temperature. Then you add a bit of vinegar to it. It separates, the curds separate, and then you just strain it. So you need to have a nut milk bag. What I like to use is actually a strainer from a ricotta that I bought ages ago from the supermarket. They come in those containers with the little gaps. I just use that one. I reuse it, which is great. And then you just let it basically dry out as much as you like. So the liquid will strain through and then you can just stop whenever you like it. I find that the Cookie Do one drains quite quickly. Within 5 or 10 minutes, it's already quite dry. You can also keep whatever is strained out of your ricotta and use it in smoothies and you know, protein shakes, things like that. It's actually quite nutritious. The one that I love is the one on Recipe Community. It uses 1.5 liters of milk and 200 grams of cream. So that's the trick, the cream addition. And you can use vinegar or lemon juice as well to separate the curds. Similar process, warms up the milk and the actual cream. And then you put lemon or vinegar to separate the curds, straining, all the same. It's just the addition of the cream that makes it really creamy, and I find it just keeps the consistency like very different. And it literally, all you need to do is to set it up and strain it. It's a 5-minute job, and then the Thermomix does the rest for you, and you have fresh ricotta made from scratch in less than half an hour using literally long life milk. It's the best one that gives you the best result because it's got more fat in it, and it will give you more ricotta. If you use fresh or low fat or things like that, you'll probably get less. In saying that, it's still a good way of doing it. It's costing you so much less than buying, because we all know a carton of milk, it's about $1 or $2. When you buy fresh ricotta, is a lot more than that. So highly recommend making it. That's my tips for making ricotta. And if Fiona's ready, if not, I can show you a bread tin.
Fiona, how are you placed?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent.
All ready to go. So they're just finished steaming. So here's my I'll just bring them down. Here's the lovely steamed ricotta dumplings. So what I'm going to do is just put them on the plate like this. They're nice and soft and cheesy. So just put them like in a bit of a circle. Like that. And then all the lovely parmesan is all melting and lovely. And then you just get some sauce. Here's our sauce. Lovely Napoli sauce. And I just drizzle some of that over it. like that. And then we have our basil leaves. I'm trying to do it like the picture. It looks very beautiful in the picture, so I'm trying to make it look as pretty as it did in the picture. And then we just need a little bit of grated parmesan or shaved. I actually shaved it. And we'll just add that onto the top like that. And that's, so it's getting stuck. Probably could do that a little bit finer. Probably easier just to do it like that. Okay, so there's the finished product. There you go.
Yeah,
Well done.
that's great, Fiona, and it does look like exactly like the picture on Cookadoo.
Yes, well, I studied the picture and I thought I can do that. So there you go. So have a go, try it.
Yeah, no, do try. Okay, so everybody, I just want to say, look, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to our wonderful presenters. I hope everybody got something out of this and that you're going to dust off that Varoma and give steaming a go. I mean, I don't know if you can see the back behind me. I've actually got a steam oven and I still pull out my Varoma all the time when it comes to steaming. A couple of other quick tips for you in the back of your basic cookbook. So the white cookbook or the dark green cookbook, in the back of that book, there's a whole section on steaming, the timing, what you need to put in, the number, the amount of water, and you can always reduce any time by starting off with boiling water. So that's my biggest tip for you. If you're looking at the table and you need to get some extra beans on the table or something, you know, during the week, and you've looked over and you think, oh, there's not enough colour on the table, I need to throw something quick on there, put some boiling water in the jug of the Thermomix, throw in your beans into your Varoma, set the timer for about 6 or 7 minutes, and you're going to have beautiful fresh beans that you can throw onto the table during the week, very quick and easy. So don't keep that Varoma in the cupboard, get it out, enjoy it, and make the most of it. Thank you again, everybody, for being part of our Varoma cooking class, and we hope to see you on many more classes to come. And as I said, we've got some great ones coming up, a Vietnamese one and a bread one, and cocktails and nibbles in the coming days. So I'll make sure I pop all of that in the feed when I respond to you. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.